maybe there's nothing wrong. Maybe you just skipped this really important step on your spiritual journey. Okay, so if you're like me, you're probably someone who has spent quite a bit of time alone, and you've probably enjoyed your own company. Maybe it has been by choice, maybe it hasn't been by choice, maybe you're an only child, maybe you've always felt a little bit misunderstood or a little bit left out from the people around you in school, or maybe you've actually pulled yourself out of most social circles because you truly felt like you needed your own space in your time alone on your spiritual journey. I know you spend quite a lot of time going within and looking at everything that is within you internally, and you're probably a very self-aware person, and you did spend a lot of time on your own healing. But today we need to talk about something that's really important, and that's community and friendships. And in general, just connections. And why can often, for someone who spent a lot of time alone, or a lot of time just generally focusing on themselves and on their healing, why can often feel like a little bit of a struggle. And even if you've already found some of your people, and I'm probably assuming you're calling in more and more people that are like-minded now, but most people miss this really, really important step. And it is really keeping you from calling in your soul community and your soul friendships. And also a divine relationship, if that's what you want to call in. Today we're going to be talking about why the price we pay for community is often discomfort. And when I talk about discomfort, I don't mean any toxicity. I don't mean actually going back to all of those things that we literally just healed from, like ignoring our boundaries or making ourselves feel small or people pleasing. And the things that we do learn and the things that we heal from are so incredibly important, but often the advice that we do get online can often really pull us away from other people in our lives. But what happens when we embark on a spiritual journey and constantly spend time alone and go within and truly cut off all of these people in our lives, or the people automatically remove themselves, and we look at all of those things like setting boundaries, or how this relationship has been toxic, or this connection has been toxic, or how we shouldn't take people's crap anymore. But this part of your journey right now, what you're missing is you need to return to the people. Of course, you probably haven't locked yourself in a cabin for the past few years, although you probably really wanted to. But even though it can feel extremely daunting, because the real world can often feel like truly a crap fest, this is what you came here to do. You came here to be a human, and you came here to be surrounded by other people. And yes, you can still enjoy your alone time. But often the people that do go through a lot of healing, we have often felt misunderstood and left out our entire lives. And then we find this path, and then we often, even though it should be quite the contrary, do remain loners or even get lonelier because we feel like, oh, I'm so unique, where the spiritual ego comes into play. Or we just feel like, because of online advice, that everyone out there is toxic and unhealed. And I'm actually sharing this from a very, very personal viewpoint. I felt very misunderstood my entire life, and I spent years and years alone just focused on my own healing until I felt ready and I felt the call to finally step out into the world again, and I found my people and I found my community. But one thing that I did notice, that constantly being alone and just with a few selected people, the only thing that was triggering was me. I focused on my own triggers, I focused on what I wanted to heal within, and I focused on my past. I focused on my desires, manifestations, meditation, and everything was based internally, which, like for most people, is the first step to this journey. But what I then noticed was this urge and this desire for community to arise, and me going out into the world and constantly being triggered by everything. What a lot of people do, and it's usually 50-50, some people retreat back to their own cave because it feels safe, and advice from the outside can make you feel like it's their problem. You're healed, they're not. But what we don't notice is that the actual healing happens in community. Nowhere are we faced with our triggers as much as in community and as in connection with other people and being outside in the real world. That's where the true triggers arise, because people are mirrors, and we as humans need community. We need connection. There's only so much that we can look at and go through alone. Yes, the connection that we have to ourselves and our own spiritual journey and everything that we do have internally is so important, and it will never go away. But what truly makes life memorable, what truly makes life beautiful, is the connections, the conversations, the experiences we have with other people as well. So you will notice right now on your journey, whenever you find yourself being around new people, or especially being around people that you maybe still know from the past, or your family especially, that's where the real healing happens. And I'm not saying to put up with toxicity, but I'm saying to use those experiences that you have with people, with community, to look further within. And you will notice that by deliberately putting yourself back into situations with community and with people, you can look at the parts of yourself that still remain unhealed. And the mission in life is not to be fully healed. Your mission in life is to live fully as yourself and to experience your emotions, experience connections, experience yourself, experience the world and all that it is. And a huge part of that is community and is connections. And you have no idea the wonderful people out there that await you when you step out into the world as your most authentic self, and you don't just retreat back into your cave when any amount of discomfort arises. Because that's why community and friendships and connections and even relationships can often feel so challenging, because it's not just about us anymore. And we do operate as a collective. We have to look at those feelings that we carry within, like jealousy, greed, and so many other feelings that usually arise when we are around other people and we connect to them. So what I need you to do, no matter how uncomfortable it might be to be triggered by the people outside of you, and even if it's just a person walking down the street, I need you to not get scared off and return to hermit mode again, because the hermit mode that you've been in is no longer needed. It is now time for you to find your people. It is time for you to step into community and to find the like-minded souls out there. And even in those beautiful relationships with the most soul-aligned people, you will still find triggers that will arise. Relationships, friendships, and connections will never be perfect. And they'll mistake that for putting up with toxicity, but also try to observe relationships and connections from above in a bird's eye view, because it is so easy to get triggered and then return back into hermit mode because it's easier. Your nervous system is used to it. But by that, you're also closing yourself off to the most beautiful experiences and the most beautiful connections. I once fell into the misconception that all the people in my life had to be perfect. And I thought that as soon as a problem arose, or as soon as a person didn't act in the way that was perfect, I had to cut them off. And that was actually what led me to be really freaking lonely. To be brave is to be vulnerable. And yes, we can be vulnerable with ourselves, but the true hard thing is to be vulnerable with others. When the right people come along, don't push them away. When vulnerability makes you uncomfortable, don't retreat. When a conflict arises in a relationship, a friendship, or a connection, don't immediately label it as toxic. Don't go into relationships or friendships or even out into the world from a viewpoint of I am healed and everyone out there is unhealed. Treat life as an experience and not as a self-improvement project. And open yourself up to love and connection, even though in the past it has just been easier to be alone. Because the true strength lies in healing and knowing yourself, and then using that knowledge, that power out in the world and within community and relationships. Don't hide your magic from the world out there, from the communities, from the people that you're about to meet, that you have yet to meet. And definitely don't push them away when they do come into your life, just because you cannot handle discomfort. You probably focused on a lot of different points when you were just on your own healing journey, but now there come new challenges like communication, vulnerability, and new feelings arise that haven't arisen before when you were just alone. And know that this part of your journey is to get out into the world and to connect with others. And that will literally lead you to more magic than you could ever imagine. Okay guys, this was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was very intuitive. I really just had to talk about this because this has been a huge part of my journey as well. Really hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, there's new videos every Wednesday on my YouTube and my podcast, and you can always find everything in the show notes down below, my socials, my website, my online and in-person community, my newsletter, and so much more. And I'll hopefully see you again next Wednesday.